now call Pierre Dorfling and Yolandi from Boomtown Strategic Agency.
Hello everyone. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to us today. It really is an honor to be here. It's an honor to speak into young minds' lives. And it's an honor that we take very serious. We were once where you are now. Thank you for taking the time. Thank you for investing in your career. And thank you for investing in a wonderful industry. This really is an industry that I have grown to love. I've been here for 12 years. It's been an extremely stressful industry. If anyone tells me there's no stress in this industry, I'm going to laugh. And if you are not someone who copes well with stress, I counsel you to possibly consider something else, because honestly it's a very, very stressful industry. But if you can take that stress and you can make it your morning breakfast, you will love this industry. You will grow in this industry and you will flourish. But you have to be able to deal with that. If I sit around the table with my friends and we start talking about our careers, I'm the one that speaks the longest. And my friends enjoy listening to me. It really is exciting. It's wonderful. We're involved in top brands in the country. We're involved in amazing things that just happen and shape the future of our industry. And a lot of times, the creative industry is classed as the modern-day artist, the modern-day Michael Da Vinci's, because we get to craft the content that shapes the future of this country. And we speak into the media, we speak into the press, we do these things. And a lot of the companies that are out there, the top Fortune 500 companies, you'll find that Coca-Cola speaking into the culture of who we are as a society. And so for you going beyond this point into a career, this really is a fantastic place where you can become a part of the voice that shapes the future of the organization that you work in, but also the country that we represent. So thank you very much for the time. My colleague Yolandi, she's a digital expert. She will take you through her work as well. Let's go through the process. So first and foremost, what is digital PR? And just to put it up there, it's a place where we manage our reputation and enhance perceptions. And that's really what it is. It's the exact same thing as normal PR. It's the job of what a normal traditional PR person will do, but in an online space. With the key difference that it's online, it's visible for everyone to see, and it's real time. And that real time is a scary thing, because like in the welcoming we've heard, it's a digital footprint. Once it's out there, it can never be taken back. So you've got to be extremely careful with how you respond, what you say, at which point you say, and how you choose to proceed. On top of all of that, when you start searching for information, your number one place to search for is Google. And once things is online, people are going to find it. So Google is a very, very powerful tool that is out there today. And just a quote that we have in the industry that I think is very appropriate for this point, and exactly as it says, the best place to hide a dead body is in Google page 2. And the reality of that is nobody goes to Google page 2 anymore. So the perception that's out there is if you're not on Google page 1, you do not exist. Okay? So online and digital PR, in addition to be able to manage your risk and manage all the bad things that are happening out there, it gives you a place to get yourself known where people are very receptive. Okay, so we made that point. I asked Google a question yesterday in prep for this meeting. I wanted to know what is the best place to study in the Eastern Cape. Can you guess what it told me? You are all wrong. NMU did not feature in this question at all. Now, I'm not saying NMU is not the best place to study. Google is saying it's not the best place to study. One, because you want to be here. So what this is giving us is an opportunity to create content in an online space to tell the province that this really is the best place to study. But if it's not out there, it's like it never exists. So at the moment, if you're into the creative industry, AFTA looks like a pretty good place to go and study. And so we need to take our organizations and we need to think about the kind of things that people are going to want to know about us. So from us as a strategic brand agency, what are the things that people want to know about us? They're going to want to know that we are really good at our jobs. They're going to want to know that we've got credentials, that we've won awards, that we've done, etc. And we need to start creating content around those things to make sure that we are findable in an online space. Let's have a look quickly at the differences between a traditional PR person and a digital PR person. Now, we know that the digital PR person is a new career opportunity. This is not something that's been around forever, as what a traditional PR person has. And so what's happened in the last few years is that we've started off with this very traditional way of doing things, and we've had to move into a digital space. Now, some PR people have been phenomenal at adopting the social space and moving into it, and others have been very regimented and said, no, thank you, that's not for us. We're going to stick with our profession, and we're going to do things the way we have. And so I'm going to compare now the two extremes of the two, but the answer doesn't lie on the extremes and how we move forward. It lies somewhere in the middle, in between. So first of all, the traditional PR person really believes that a press conference is the way to go. You want to do an announcement, you do a press conference, you might do a press release, you send it out, but it's a very traditional format in how we do things. On the other side, we have the digital side. We are looking at people like influencers. Where did that word come from? Suddenly, we talk about influencers. And also bloggers. Does anyone here blog? Okay, so we've got about 5 bloggers here. That's great. Now, if you were to be classed as an influencer within the blogging sphere, we would look at how many followers you have. How true do those followers stay to you? How often do they visit you? Do you have 5 followers on your blog? Because if you have 5 followers on your blog, you're not very influential. But if you have 50,000 people on your blog, you are seen as extremely influential. And so from a digital PR perspective, we look for what we call tribal leaders within these different group settings, and we look for the most influential people. So if we want to see a message, we don't want to see it to the person who's going to reach 5 people. We want to see it to the people who are going to reach the 50,000 people. And those people who will shape the revolution in the way we see. So let's have a quick look at some of the tangible differences between the two. The audience that a traditional PR person will speak to is journalists from the top database. So we'll take a look at who are the top journalists out there and how can we reach them, and we will send them communication on an ongoing basis. On the other side, we will reach our bloggers, our journalists, our specialists, Twitter users. It's like if you want to get a word out there, just talk to a few people on Twitter, you're going to get words out there very quickly. On this side, we look at a traditional perspective. It's most often an organization that wants to tell a message about who they are to a public audience. On the other side, the message has changed. It's no longer in the digital space about who I am as much as it is about who the consumer is. So we create content seeded to the consumer, and the consumer now has an opportunity to engage with that content. So we'll find Coca-Cola, again, as an example, where they no longer do those press releases only. They do the press releases, but they also create these amazing videos about love and joy and togetherness and society, and etc. And that appeals to us as a culture, as a people, and we then associate ourselves with the brand. So they're taking the true essence of their messaging, which is a PR tactic, but they're employing it in a way that people want to associate with. So very key difference there, where this side is focused on organization, this side is focused on the people we're aiming to target. The tools are very different as well. So in digital, we've got a whole new array of tools. Certainly we talk about CRM tools, we talk about Twitter, we talk about social media in general, we talk about websites. But in the traditional aspect, we really dealt with Excel spreadsheets and email databases the most. So you would have all your journalists set up on a send list, you write your email, you write your release, you send it off to a particular list. Where on this side, it really is a lot more robust. The channels for traditional is TV, radio, and press. And the channels on the other side is our blogs, our websites, our social media, etc. What is left is a cold war between the two, where the traditional PR specialist will say, no, this is how we do things. And your modern day social media manager will say, no, this is how we do things. Again, as I said before, the answer is not in the two extremes. The answer is in the middle. Is there a place for both of these things in our lives? To help to answer the question, is there really a place, and has the game changed from where it has been to where it is? I'm going to have a look quickly at a case study that we are all very too familiar about. Now, when this case study, or when this case happened, how did the news break? And this is a question to the audience. Where did you first hear about this strategy? Twitter, social media, I did a lot of those. That's exactly how it happened. Oscar was arrested. He was taken to the prison. And essentially what happened was it leaked out on Stanford did this study where they looked at all these various different topics and they tried to prove where news really breaks first. So the bolded elements is what you'll find is where it broke first. And so the Twitter column you'll see does not necessarily have a lot of bold items. What you'll find is news still breaks first in a traditional setting or through traditional news wires, etc. And this study was done over hundreds and thousands of topics and categories. And really it still breaks in news. But the interesting thing is when you look at those things in the lead time, you're talking about 1 second difference, 3 second difference, etc. So it's fractional in terms of traditional media launching first. But here's the question that I have. When last did I personally see news break on mass media versus social media? The answer to my question is I don't see things break. Why? There's the answer. Because in the morning, we all sit down, we quickly view our Twitter feed, and boom, you've got your daily update. Now, you might have only had a 140 character message, but you get up from that point and you move on, and now you go get the newspaper, and now you read the whole thing, but you heard about it on Twitter first. So it's not always only about where it broke first, but it's very much about where did you consume it first. In 2000, the Grand Prix, the platinum sponsor for that was iHundai. The gold sponsor was irrelevant, and the bronze sponsor was Coca-Cola. But Coca-Cola went and bought the rights to advertise that they are a sponsor of the Grand Prix. And what they ended up doing was flooding the media. And post the event, there was a case study done, or research done into the field, and they asked people, who would you say was the platinum sponsor this year? And everybody said Coca-Cola. And they blew them away. But it's not, so the key there in marketing, it's not he who's the greatest that people will acknowledge as the greatest. It is he who communicates first who becomes the greatest. And I might be third, I might be fourth, but if I make the biggest, loudest noise I possibly can about it, people will perceive me as being the absolute best. A lot of work for you guys in the organization. Okay, we spoke about that. Another quick look at a case study of the power of social media was the Boston Marathon bombings. Has anybody heard about this? Just a few people. Cool. So the Boston Marathon bombing, as we know, went out and the bombing started taking place, and Twitter started taking on the role of investigative journalism. People on Twitter started posting and saying, oh, but I saw these two people, and then someone else would say, but I saw these two people. And essentially what happened is these two people became the number one suspects in this bombing case. And there was this countrywide manhunt on the loose for these guys with a backpack. It went to media. It started flooding. These guys literally went on the absolute on the manhunt here. And the one guy died as a result in a police shootout. Tragic. The problem was it was all wrong. The information that was collected was started as a frenzy on Twitter, but none of it was real. None of it was accurate. And investigators, once the guy died and the group got in, found out the whole process, things together, but now a man's died. And so you would think Twitter is a harmless place, a harmless comment that could be made. But it really isn't. It's a powerful place. And for brands, if we don't get it right, so some of you here will go and work for an agency. Some of you here will work for big companies. Some of you might not end up in a PR career at all. But when you leave here and you have the reputation of an organization, of an entity, of something in your hand, you've got to be extremely careful with what you put out there. Because one comment really can ruin someone's life. So on that note, I'm going to hand over to Yolandi, and we're going to explore a few options of when it goes back and do this one.
Hi everyone. So leading on from what Pierre said, it's really important to monitor what your brand is doing out there, to see what people are saying about it. Conversations are key in the world right now, offline and online. And I've just collected a few small examples, but I think they're powerful because they actually show you how you really need to pay attention to detail in the online world. These are specifically related to social media campaigns that brands launched on social media, and then what the audience did with those campaigns. Our first example is actually very recent. It happened at the end of July. Gap launched their Back to School campaign. And it looks very innocent, very nice, beautiful little girl with the little kitty ears and the little boy in his nice little outfit. But unfortunately, they didn't think sensitive to the fact that this is actually going on right now. That that a lot of people are saying you shouldn't just make Barbies for girls. Boys should also have the option to play with dolls. There's a lot of that going on right now out there. So when this broke, it went viral on social media really quickly, and people were saying, please stop perpetuating gender stereotypes. Can the little girl not also be a little scholar? Why must she be the social butterfly? Why can't she have the Albert Einstein t-shirt? So unfortunately, they had to pull it, and they also made a spelling error on Albert Einstein's t-shirt. They said Einstein, which also didn't count in their favor. And so unfortunately, they had to scrap that. Just one tweet was all it took to make this go viral. One person said one bad thing, other people latched onto that idea, and they were like, actually, this is so stereotypical, and then it just flooded social media. So one bad comment. Then this is also in America. There's this espresso coffee company called Dark Horse. They're known to be quite attitudinal. It is definitely a positive for them, but in this instance, it wasn't. It didn't count in their favor at all. This lady took the time to tell them that she made a suggestion. She said, you know what, guys, there's people working on laptops in your coffee shops. Please can we have more electrical outlets? Simple statement. She was actually trying to help them, maybe better themselves for their customers. And then they gave her a snarky comment and said, we are in the coffee business, not the office business. So, you can just imagine how Twitter loved that. Unfortunately, they had to retract their statement and apologize very humbly. So, just another small example. Just you can't just say something. You have to really think about your consumers. And this lady, as I said, she took time to tell them to do something. She took time to engage with them as a brand and say, hey, I'm making a suggestion for you to improve yourself. And then they go into their attitude. And then last but not least, I had to include this. I laughed so much the first time I saw this. This was Susan Boyle. She won Idols a few years back, and they had an album launch for her party, a party for her album launch. But they took to Twitter with this hashtag, Sue's Anal Bum Party. It's supposed to say Susan Album Party. So unfortunately, that's the thing I'm talking about, the attention to detail. You really have to be careful about the hashtags you choose. You can just imagine. You can imagine what the internet did with this. But, so I wanted to include that as an example of attention to detail. It's so important. And then when you get it right, a lot of brands out there, they have the ability to be extremely agile. So they can tap in on conversations in real time, and they can undo so much negativity through simple means. Woolworths is a really great example. I know they've been, the past few years, they've actually had a lot of flack. And I feel really sorry for them because a lot of times it's like they actually don't know what to do. I think they've handled it okay, but this has been amazing. What they did last year for this guy Ryan was really awesome. So he bought Evos. Ryan was really in the mood for his Evos, and he was like, guys, I'm so disappointed because I really wanted to eat these Evos. He said, Pierre, I'm not angry, I'm just disappointed. And then Woolworths responded with, Ryan, the disappointment is more than we can bear. Private message us your number and we'll book a brother. And then they sent him some Evos. He was very happy and posted his new photo with his nice, fresh-looking Evos. And then the internet started with memes. This post had 35,000 likes and over 2,500 shares in a matter of minutes. So something negative became positive because Woolies decided to use humor to try and undo something negative. And then Tesco, they're a UK retailer. You can shop online with them. And this little boy and his mom shop online every single week. And this week, specifically, he was going to get a new Spider-Man toothbrush. And Lego, Spider-Man Lego. And so they undid something that could have been negative in simple means, but they also responded on social media as well and showed their consumers that they do take time to respond to even the smallest complaint. And this is one of my personal favorites. It happened about a year ago. So I don't know if you guys know Jeremy Clarkson. He is the guy from Top Gear, the presenter. And a few years ago, it was at the beginning of last year, he was suspended from Top Gear because he fought with his manager. And apparently everyone said it was because he was hungry. They messed up his catering. And just before that, Snickers had launched this amazing campaign called You're Not You When You're Hungry. And they basically had all these ads showing celebrities turning into monsters because they're hungry. And then when they heard about this, about Jeremy Clarkson punching his manager because of hunger, they were like, oh my word, this is like the perfect opportunity for us. So they did what we call newsjacking. That's when you take something that's trending, you inject your brand into it, and then you go viral for a few hours. So that's exactly what they did. They got a little box of Snickers for Jeremy Clarkson, posted it to him and said, you're not you when you're hungry. You can just imagine, it went crazy on Twitter, trended for a while, went viral. It was just a brilliant, brilliant way to tap into a conversation, a real-time conversation. And they did it in a fun, humoristic manner. So having said all this, I'm going to introduce you to something now which I can't live without as a digital communications person. The reason I showed you all those examples is just to show you how brands are managing their reputations, how flippant they can be when they respond to people being negative online. And this tool that I'm going to talk to you about now is called it's called CRM, which is Customer Reputation Management. And it allows you to track and collect data from print, social, online, and broadcast media in real time. It's a tool that integrates traditional and digital PR. It's software that runs on your computer, but it just aggregates data, collects data that helps you to make good decisions for your brand, to chip into current conversations, to engage with people who are talking negatively about the brand, to identify your key influencers. And it also allows you to improve your strategies going forward. So if you see something isn't working for you, you know now that you can change it because you've got the data at your disposal. The tool we use is called Brand's Eye. It's a local tool. It's developed in South Africa. And what it does is it makes sense of conversations that are happening out there, broadcast media and in the online world, related specifically to your brand. So you will put in a keyword. Let's say, for instance, you put in SAA. And then what this tool does is it aggregates data around SAA, which just spit out a lot of information about the term SAA. And then it will determine your share of voice as well. So you can look at your competitors and see what they're doing, how much market share do they have, and what can you do to chip into these conversations and get more market share away from them. So it determines your share of voice. Then it also tracks what we call mentions. So as I said, so it measures conversations, but more specifically, it measures something called mentions. So every time the brand SAA is mentioned anywhere, this tool will give you a little alert and tell you, oh, SAA has been mentioned on News 24. It's in our offline publication because it also tracks traditional PR. It is someone's blogged about it. Someone's tweeted about it. And you can go and see and look at that and see what is the sentiment associated with that mention. When I talk about sentiment, I talk about the feeling that people have about your brand. How do they feel about it? Are those mentions, are they positive or are they negative mentions? And there's another criteria that we need to keep in mind for mentions is how accurate are those mentions. So we're relying on computer software to track these keywords for us, then the system will improve itself, so basically like evolves, and it will take that mention as positive in future. So every time that kind of sentiment or mention is created, it will know, okay, this is actually positive. So it's quite a science, but it's imperative to have a tool like this going forward. And the sentiment, as I was speaking about earlier, to determine whether it's positive or negative, it's really important because this determines your key influences as well. So how do people feel about your brand? Well, let's say they say McDonald's breakfast sucks. Now this tool will enable you to see who said that, where did they say that, and can you chip into that conversation and ask this person, why do you not like McDonald's breakfast? So it gives you an opportunity in real time to go and converse with that person where they're at, to try and understand them better. Why are they unhappy with you? What can you improve upon? And then also, with sentiment, our positive and negative sentiment also helps us to determine the key influences out there that we need to be paying attention to. If someone says, I really hate McDonald's breakfast, but they have 50 followers on Twitter, I'm really not going to bother with them. If they have 50,000 Twitter followers, I am going to bother. I'm going to be like, I need to talk to you. I need to find out why you don't like McDonald's breakfast. So that brings me on to my next point, key influences. In this day and age, you absolutely have to connect with key influencers. They are the leaders in your industry, in your brand's industry. They have thousands upon thousands of followers who are your specific target audience. They determine your followers' buying decisions. They determine your followers' preferences over one brand over another. These people are gold. And this tool allows you to find them, to see where they are. Is it a blogger? Is this a Twitter guru? Is this someone who uses LinkedIn really well? And it allows you to find them in real time and go and connect with them. And last but not least, why I really love this tool is because you can measure and improve your strategies. Whatever it is you're doing, offline or online, you can see whether or not it's working with this tool. It will show you, obviously with mentions, you can see, let's say you have an event, and you can actually see in real time how that event has influenced your online space, how many people are talking about it on Twitter, social media, etc., etc. If there's not really much activity, okay, maybe this didn't work so well, let's try change tactics. Let's take budget and throw it into a social media campaign, for instance. So you can actually tweak whatever it is you're doing to be able to get more results. And it also helps you to measure ROI, or return on investment. It can show you exactly how much you spent and what it's worth, what those people are worth to you. Every single cent that you spend has value. It can be shown to have value on this tool. So, I really wanted to share this tool with you. It's something that we use a lot in the agency. It helps us to determine who our competitors are out there. It helps us to determine our share of voice. And then we can build strategies around it that are strong and integrated. We can use traditional and marry it with digital and build really strong integrated campaigns that will have results for our clients. So in this day and age moving forward, you cannot be without a tool like this. You have to have that in PR going forward. Thank you.
I think with a tool like this is a quick one that I wanted to insert there. We did a campaign 2 years ago for a client wanting to launch flavored milk to market. And quickly online, we could see who the top influencers were. We were trying to specifically target moms with little children. We plugged in the tool and we saw what was happening. And immediately what we could see is Shareshni Ryder was a big influencer into that space. So we sent her a little pack on flavored milk. We wrote her a little handwritten note. We just said, we know you're along in this space. We know this is really important to you. We would love for you to look at our campaign, but here's a little something for you and your daughter, regardless of whether you come and join or not. And within the day, she came back and she mentioned us on radio, she mentioned us on Twitter, and she started telling us about, or online, that how phenomenal the drink point was that vendors were actually having to fight for you for the product, which was fantastic. Now that's fantastic mentioned. It cost us essentially about 200 rand to get some postage out there and through to them. So really a great way from the tool perspective of how that helps us generate a lot of media and engagement. So lastly from me, I wanted to look at a quick case study and how we can wrap this whole thing up and how we can bring it home for you guys. And so the case study that we really found is Nestle. Nestle went through quite a bad, they've gone through a series of really bad PR. But when you're in the international space like that, you really do open yourselves up to a lot of critics, you open yourselves up to a lot of opinions. And you're going to offend someone somewhere down the line. And it's not really about whether you offend someone or not, it's how well you deal with those offences. You will offend someone, regardless of what you do. But being able to deal with criticism is very, very important. And so as a PR person, you've got to have tough skin. If you don't have tough skin, you're going to get offended, and the offence is going to cause you stress, and you're going to sit at home and cry in the shower, and you're not going to be able to deal with the issues at hand. You need to be strong, you need to face it, and you need to find the solution and move forward. So Nestle, KitKat specifically had this problem where they sourced palm oil from Sudan. And this Indonesian supplier was thought of to be non-sustainable in the way that they do things. So Greenpeace, if you ever not run across swords with anyone, Greenpeace is the one. Greenpeace took to social media and they came up with a campaign to attack Sorry for the gruesome video. Got the reaction that I was hoping to get. But the problem is that so was that for Greenpeace. Now, imagine Nestle is your brand. Imagine you come up against that. You wake up in the morning thinking you're a world conglomerate, and this video pitches up from social media. Not a very good place to be for a brand. Very scary place. And so the question is, what would you do? How would you take this? And so this leads me to a golden rule from PR. And this is really, in the 12 years that I've been in this industry, this rule has saved, I have experienced, saved me and saved a lot of brands out there. And a lot of times brands get this wrong. And the golden rule is simply this. You don't have to fix it in the first instance of engagement. That's not the job of the PR person in round one. If it really isn't serious and you can fix it in round one, great. But that's really just not the job that's at hand here. What you're looking to do is to buy yourself enough time without the spread of the fire going absolutely wild. You're trying to make a statement where you appease the audience out there, where you tell them, it's great guys, we know there's a problem, we are going to deal with this very serious, thank you. Do not try and hide it, do not try and bulldoze it, do not try and do what Nestle did. So what the first response from Nestle should have looked something like this, ended up looking a little something like this. A bit more of a problem than an actual solution. And so they head off to a lawsuit where they try to get the video removed by claiming infringement of copyright. The lawsuit was passed. The problem was social media did not enjoy this and recanted with a series of memes saying something like this. Updated the logo. Now imagine again, that's not your logo. So now what was a problem now is escalated and become even worse of a problem. The next day, that video was taken off YouTube. The next day, it was loaded onto Vimeo and received 80,000 views in one day. The day after that, it went to YouTube and it received another 180,000 views in one day. And so this is the result of what happens when you mess up with your golden rule. We've seen MTN in the last few years where at one stage in 2010, was 400 websites registered I hate MTN in various different ways. MTN put out a lawsuit, had them all taken down. 2 days later, there were 800. 3 days later, there were over 1,000, and they just kept escalating. You cannot go to law in a social space as a means to help you save your brand. You are going to get yourself into deep water. So, they say they went back to the drawing board and they came up with a 5-point strategy. So I'm going to share with you those 5 points. And this really is a phenomenal strategy to see what a response this has been from the organization. This should have been the response from the word get-go. But firstly, what they did is they went to media and they acknowledged the problem that was out there. That it's not something that's going to be taken lightly. And they started engaging the media around that. 2, they dealt with the problem in the short term by getting rid of the current suppliers. So as a immediate effect, thank you for bringing that to our attention. These suppliers are no longer on the books. Then they went and measured, they put measures in place to ensure that this would never happen again. So it became a policy within the company that they would investigate the suppliers before they would ever use new suppliers in a lot more detail. And then they engaged their critics. They sat around the table with Greenpeace and they started engaging with them on a one-to-one basis and allowed Greenpeace access to the organization to make sure that they are the most sustainable organization in the planet. So they really brought their critics on board and made them a partner as opposed to someone that sits across the table all the time. And then lastly, which I thought was absolutely phenomenal, they put a digital team in place. They brought a new head of digital in. They put this digital team in place who now monitors 24 hours a day what happens with Nestle in countries around the world. That team does not sleep, it never rests, because the internet never sleeps and never rests. And so this team is now responsible for global communication. Every CEO from every country for Nestle has to go to this team for education and for training for a 2-week period. This in Switzerland, and they are taught how to deal with crises as they come up and as they happen. So phenomenal response from the organization. I'm going to leave you with this last statement from Mr. Blackshaw, who's now the Pierre social media for Nestle. Perhaps the best measures of success is the resounding sound of silence. And that truly is the most remarkable thing. When people start